I got my father's gun out of his car. He kept one in his glove box. I got my brother's gun out of his car. I went to sleep that night. I woke up the next morning and I murdered my mother, and I murdered my father, and I murdered my two sisters. And after that, I went to school with the intention of drawing the police out to have the police shoot me and kill me. In the frame of mind I was in at the time, things made sense to me then that wouldn't have made sense several days later. And what was going through my head, though it is not really rational, was that it would be happier being dead. I mean, not in a general sense, but considering everything that was getting ready to happen, considering, both their parents were dead, considering their brother did it. And like I said, that doesn't make a lot of sense now, but what I did doesn't make a lot of sense in a general sense. It's something that I can't undo. It's something that I can't take back. And they're dead, and they're not going to be undead. They're not going to stop being dead. And it doesn't matter how bad I feel about it now. It doesn't matter what I would change now. They're not going to stop being dead. They're dead, and that's the end of it.
Do you think you deserve to be paroled?
I don't think I deserve to be alive. I hate what's happened, and I hate the way my life has turned. And it started out bad, and then it got worse. And I'm the one that made it worse. And you break some things, and you can't fix it. There's nothing you can do to make it better. There's nothing you can do to put it back together again. Do I feel I'm a threat to the community? No. Do I feel I'm going to commit a crime or be in danger of committing a crime? No, I don't.
Clay Shrout was now saying that the origin of the anger that compelled him to kill lay in the fact that he had been sexually abused as a young child by his mother. He said his father found out but did nothing about it. 25 years ago, Clay didn't tell this to the police or to anyone else, and he says these are revelations he's only come to terms with while incarcerated, and that he's only spoken about them with others behind bars. I was able to locate one other reference pointing toward alleged sexual abuse in the 2010 book Inside the Mind of a Teen Killer by Phil Chalmers. In it, Chalmers describes meeting with Clay Shrout and corresponding with him through letters after that. He wrote that Clay told him that, quote, his anger stemmed from his mother sexually abusing him as a child. In their later letters, Clay clarified his thoughts, saying, quote, when I was an infant, my mother began to sexually molest me. She was supposed to be giving me baths. Soon, the molesting stopped, and I blocked all the memories, and fear and rage remained for years after. Because of my fear, I enjoyed violence. It was my shield. I grew to love violence. I would spend hours thinking about hurting and killing people. I would also spend time thinking about raping and sexually abusing women. Clay also told the author that he was aware that the molestation itself did not, quote, make him murder his family, and that it was his choice to be violent. Regardless of what Clay Shrout had to say about his motives in 2010 or 2019, the full parole board denied his application, ultimately determining after 2 hearings that he would need to wait another 10 years to apply for the second time. He was also ordered to complete anger management classes and receive mental health treatment once again. Clay is believed to have psychopathic traits. Renowned Canadian criminal psychologist Dr. Robert Hare devised a checklist in the 70s now referred to as the Hare Psychopathy Checklist-Revised, or PCL-R. The checklist contains 20 symptoms upon which the participant is given a 0 to 3 ranking. Although I couldn't find any official scores for Clay Shrout, when administered by a qualifying professional, an N score of 30 to 40 results in a psychopath diagnosis. The 20 symptoms on the PCLR are glib and superficial charm, grandiose estimation of self, need for stimulation, pathological lying, cunning and manipulativeness, lack of remorse or guilt, shallow affect, callousness and lack of empathy, parasitic lifestyle, poor behavioral controls, sexual promiscuity, early behavior problems, lack of realistic long-term goals, impulsivity, irresponsibility, failure to accept responsibility for own actions, many short-term marital relationships, juvenile delinquency, any kind of revocation of conditional release, and criminal versatility. Clay Shrout is currently 42 years old and is housed at the Kentucky State Penitentiary, Eddyville. His next parole eligibility date is May 18, 2029, when he's 52 years old. The house on Tiburon Drive in Florence, Boone County, Kentucky, was sold 6 months after the 1994 massacre and was not put on the market again until this summer. The beautiful home on almost a full acre currently has a pending offer. The most consistent motive Clay has ever given for killing his little sisters, Kristen and Lauren, is that he didn't want them to grow up in misery with murdered parents, knowing their brother killed them. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Murderous Minors. I'm considering a companion piece to this episode as a bonus next week, or maybe I'll have a Murderous Minors Presents episode ready, the new cases I'm working on that'll let us explore stories outside the Killer Kid bubble every once in a while. But until next time, my friends, don't be scared.
Hi, I'm Jamie, host of Murderish, a true crime podcast that provides a 3D look at gripping murder cases from beginning to end. You'll get to know the victims and perpetrators, how their worlds collided, and what went down during trial. I also share some of my own personal experiences, like the time a stranger came into my bedroom at night. Yeah, that really happened, and I walk you through all the details of that terrifying night. Have you ever wanted to be a fly on the wall during a murder trial? You'll get that opportunity on Murderish, as I share my experience being a jury foreman on a first-degree murder trial. Search Murderish in your favorite podcatcher app, hit subscribe, and start binging. And remember, listening to this podcast doesn't make you a murderer. It just means you're murder-ish.
Hi everyone, I'm here to tell you about LA Not So Confidential, the forensic psychology and true crime podcast brought to you by me, Dr. Shiloh, and this guy.
Hi, I'm her bestie and co-host, Dr. Scott. She was a cop and I was a Hollywood casting director. Now we're both forensic psychologists working in Los Angeles. We met while doing our internships working with sex offenders. I know, right?
Twice a month, we bring you a classic or contemporary true crime story while applying real psychological concepts and dishing about entertainment's representations of those crimes.
Subscribe now to LA
Not So
Confidential wherever you get your podcasts.
True crime, psychology, and snark.
Trust us, we're doctors.